The foam roller is an amazing piece of equipment. It greatly encourages stability because it is unstable. It helps with kinesthetic learning because it's going to hit bits of your body that you didn't know. It should help with fascial hydration because it will dehydrate bits as you lie on them, and then hopefully as you move away from them, the rehydration will happen. And it is also for trigger point. Don't look for the trigger point. If you find a bit that's sore, for this particular purposes, move away from it. This foam roller, I only like using full length foam rollers, and you'll see during this why. So if you have a half a foam roller, you're not really going to get the same benefit as for Pilates as you will with the full one. This one is the tiniest little bit too hard. So if you can get any of the ones that are a little bit softer, they are really so much kinder to your fascia. But this one will do perfectly well. We're going to start our session lying down. Sit yourself on the very front edge of your foam roller so that if you look down, you can't see it. Your feet are hip distance apart and parallel or a little bit wider for this. You're going to roll yourself all the way onto the fit circle so that your head and your sacrum are on the fit circle. This is simply an opener. So as we lie over the fit circle, I want you to try not to let your pelvis tilt. So for me, I've got to really make sure the sacrum is on the fit circle. And the palms face up. And you just want to let everything melt as much as you possibly can. And stay here for 1 or 2 minutes. From here, take one arm over the other and hug yourself, broadening your scapula across your back. Stay here for about 30 seconds. Open your arms out again. And then just change what hand was on top, what arm was on top, and hug yourself right in there. Bend your knees. Place the soles of your feet flat on the floor. And give yourself a couple of pelvic tilts, feeling as you tilt that your foam roller is going to move. Then slide off the foam roller, roll it off to one side, and just feel what that feels like. It's a great sense of where your back body is. Because we spend so much of our day with our humerus a little bit too far forwards, the next one, if you are able for it, is also lovely. The knees are bent. The feet are flat on the floor. The foam roller is crossbody across your back. It's just underneath your scapula. And if you're able, you lie back. Any neck, disc issues, please don't do this. If this is way too much for you, you put a block or something underneath your head so that your head is higher off the floor. And you stay here for about 3 minutes. When you're finished, come up. We're going to go back down into that position again, but with a little bit more stability. So the feet move closer to the body. The hands cradle the back of the head. The pelvis lifts as the head moves towards the floor and then lifts up into a very gentle flexion. So I'm not trying to do an ab prep here. I have just a little bit of flexion. And then staying in gentle flexion, you're going to roll. If you have bony spinous processes, please don't do this. I would also recommend that you don't go to any particular point that's hurting you. Rather, you make this a continuous roll, forwards and backwards, till you can sit down, elbows onto the foam roller. Move the foam roller out of the way and lie back down just to experience what your back body feels like now. It might be nice to repeat all of those exercises again at the end of the session. Cat, cow, using the foam roller. First one, foam roller under the knees. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Most importantly, the feet are off the floor. As we exhale into a cat, we're trying to make sure that the foam roller doesn't move closer towards us. And the same for cow. So we're using the spine, but we're also using stabilizers to make sure that the foam roller remains neutral. Underneath the hands, exactly like the fit circle, we don't want to wrap. So it's the heel of the hand that goes onto the foam roller, and stack yourself right over it. So for most people, they feel like they want to grab. I really want you to keep those fingers lifting off the foam roller. Your hands wider than usual will be a little bit helpful. And then we do our cat. And our cow here. Once again, keeping the foam roller absolutely still. Superman. In this all fours position, taking the leg back, of course, our pelvis is in a slight tilt here. I'll move forwards. So my spine is neutral, but it's not parallel with the floor anymore because my hands are elevated. So as I lift the leg, I make sure I stay neutral, but in this plane, I don't allow my pelvis to become parallel with the floor. I am pushing my arm into the foam roller, maintaining stability. I have to hug really strongly that tricep into the arm. I stay for 5 to 10 breaths. I re-establish myself. I find neutral. I engage my abdominals. When I lift the leg, do not let the pelvis tilt. And then the opposite arm. And it's the hand that's on the foam roller that really needs a lot of work here. I am hugging the humerus with my tricep. 5 to 10 breaths. And then I lower down. Superman. So because my pelvis is a little bit higher than my shoulders are actually loaded a little bit more. So for people who can't do Superman with the hands on the foam roller, but you really want to make their shoulders work, this is a really good way to do it. My pelvis stays still. I lift and I lift. And the foam roller, of course, is trying to move. I'll do that on the other side. The leg goes back. The foot stays off the floor. The opposite hand moves. Trying to maintain stability. Going through my hand. Going through my pelvis. The shoulder bridge, we have 2 versions. One is with the foam roller lengthways and the other is with the foam roller under the feet. So once again, when the foam roller is lengthways, you sit on the very front edge so that you cannot see the foam roller. Then lie yourself all the way back. We need stability here, but my shoulders are currently retracted because my body is off the floor. The weight of my arms wants to pull my shoulders into retraction. So I want you to counter that by pressing your hands into the floor and lifting your elbows ever so slightly. So the oranges are involved here. So as if you had oranges underneath your armpits and you're pulling them down towards your hips. Alternatively, for the shoulder bridge, just take your hands across your chest so that your shoulders are hugging your rib cage. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. I know you want to have your feet wider because it feels safer, but you really need to get them hip distance apart. And from here, we peel and lift. So you won't feel the peel so much because your pelvis is off the floor, so your hips don't go into extension quite as much. But you should certainly feel the glutes activating. The knees shoot forwards and they pull towards each other. Both feet doing the same amount of work. making sure that the knees don't roll out and that you don't lift up into this sloppy bridge. Remember the glutes. It's the knees, pubic bone, hips and ribs that need to stay level. When you come off the foam roller, just slide over onto one side. I always like to lie back after doing those ones that affect the tissue in a massage kind of a way, just to release and relax a little bit in between. The next one is the shoulder bridge with the foam roller underneath the feet. So anybody who's used the reformer and has done the shoulder bridge on the reformer will recognize this one. The foam roller is nearer the heels than the toes. And we lift up and we lower down. So if your hamstring has got that really quickly, move the foam roller a little bit further away or a little bit closer together. Remember, I still have hip distance apart. I'm using my abdominal muscles. I'm coming up into neutral and I'm going to stay here. And then I lower back down. One vertebra at a time if possible. Third one. I roll my feet, keep my pelvis absolutely still. So I am concentrically contracting my hamstrings. Then I lower myself down and release. If you wish, just do a gentle hamstring stretch. Or a very nice thing to do is just to roll the hamstring a little bit by sitting on the foam roller and rolling yourself forwards and backwards. Take the foam roller along the length of your mat again. For knee fold, single and double. Remember, if you look down, you can't see the foam roller. Lie yourself all the way back there. Remember, your shoulders want to retract, so you need to find a way to neutralize them. Remember, your feet need to be hip distance apart and parallel. Everything stays still. I lift a knee and I lower it. I exhale to lift. I inhale or exhale to lower. What you want to do is move your feet away from each other, but believe me, the harder this gets, the more important it will be to keep your feet hip distance apart. When you lift the leg, you're going to feel a lot of work going into your fingers. I want you to make that very light. So I have a single knee fold, and now I take a double knee fold. I use my abdominal muscles. I squeeze my legs together. I put one down, and then I put the other one down. When I lift the second leg, pay attention to the opposite shoulder and make sure that that shoulder doesn't suddenly contract a lot. So I have my shoulders wrapping, my elbows are bent, my fingers are in the floor, my core is engaged. I have one and then the other. I squeeze my legs together, one down and then the other. I take my hands across my chest again and trying to remain absolutely still and stable on the foam roller. I slide my leg away for the leg slide. Be careful, because what you want to do is push into the bent knee side as you slide that leg away. So constantly thinking about your center and how stable you can stay. Keeping one leg straight, nod the chin towards the chest, lift the head, lift the shoulders, do a little ab prep, a couple of pulses here, and then lower back down, Slide the leg back, gather yourself into your core again, drop your ribs towards your pelvis, slide the other leg away, nod your chin into your peach, lift your head and your shoulders, and we got little pulses. And then we lower all the way back down and drag. Arm raises. The arms go up. The ribs stay neutral. The arms go out and all the way out to the sides. The arms go up. The ribs stay neutral. The arms go out and out to the sides. Add it to an ab prep. The arms go up. Don't lose sight of them. Make sure you can always see them in your periphery. If you're able, you lift your knee to do this. If you're not, you keep one hand down and just do one arm into your arm circles, or angel arms as they're called. The 100. Fingers are on the floor. Ab prep. One knee lifts, other knee lifts, one leg down, other leg down, head down. That's level 1. It's really just knee fold and ab prep put together. Ab prep. Elbows stay facing up to the ceiling. One and then the other. Squeeze the legs together and you can beat an arm. Just one arm, then the other arm. Lower your head down, lower your legs down. Ab prep. Just lift one leg, both arms. You can lengthen the leg, you can lower the leg, you can swap the legs. You can have it bent at the knee, you can lengthen, you can lower. And all the way down. Mostly lifting both legs and one arm will be the most challenging for most people. So that is the 100 done with the foam roller. Single leg stretch. Ab prep. One knee, then the other. The hands stay where they are. You reach and join together. Reach, join together. Reach, elbows pulling up to the ceiling. Reach, join together. The head comes down. One foot goes down and the other foot goes down. If that's too much, ab prep, and it's just one leg. If that's too much, the head can stay down. The legs only. Or you can try one arm and one leg moving in opposite directions. When you're finished, roll over onto one side. Just lie on your back and take a few moments to feel what the back body feels like.